Brian, thanks for joining me on the show today. This program's all about transformation, right? Personal, financial, physical. So you created a system called the 4-3-2-1 Steps to Financial Freedom.
Yes.
Sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a system you're saying you use yourself.
Correct.
Why don't you tell me about how you built wealth using your system?
So when I graduated college, the first thing I purchased was a 4-unit property. I kind of stumbled upon it. I always knew that I wanted to own real estate, get into this. So my background in finance kind of helped me understand some things that probably most people don't, like where does the money coming from, right? Who are these people called underwriters, right? All these unique things that most consumers don't run into every day. I had the behind the curtain, knowledge before I bought my first property.
You're not a realtor or been in home improvement prior to that?
Nope. I knew I wanted to be in real estate. So I went and I sought tips, tricks, hacks that were going to help me do it quickly, right? Okay. So the 4-3-2-1 Steps to Financial Freedom are re-engineering the lending process, right? Because you need money to do this. You need to leverage financing. Okay. So what we figured out with our system is that if you bought the 4-unit property first, called it your primary residence, you live in there, time goes by, you create equity, the passive income is covering the mortgage payment.
How long do you need to stay in that 4-flat until you're cash flow positive? Or does it depend on what your rents are like? And so tell me about sounds great. I worked with your system, I got the financing. A couple of questions that immediately come to mind is when do I get to a place where I'm flush there? Do I need good credit? Do I need a lot of money down? What are my criteria to actually start using the program?
Right. So most people have what we refer to as limiting beliefs, right? I need a lot of money. I got to have good credit, right? Mm-hmm. All these different pieces, right? So we're utilizing something very, very simple called an FHA loan, right? Okay. They allow you to put 3.5% down. Very little, right? You don't need to have 800 credit scores. Most people can do it with 640 or north credit scores.
Not bad.
You do need to have employment because that income is what helps you qualify for the loan.
But do I need to be a CEO or a major executive at a company, or
no,
have this
this works on all different economic levels, right? It's where you live right now, right? So if I live in this neighborhood and these 4 flats are trading for this, right? I can afford them because I'm already probably paying that amount in rent anyways, right? So I can buy that property in that neighborhood. So this isn't going to work in the upper posh neighborhoods, right? Because those prices, we are constrained by the FHA loan limits. And FHA have limits whether it's a single family, a 2-flat, a 3-flat, or 4-flat. 4-flat obviously is a very high number, right? But that's your only constraint. It's still not the highest number. So if you're in the Gold Coast, Lincoln Park, those properties are trading higher because they're in A++ locations.
Yeah. Plus, I would imagine you're not really looking at rentals in those types of areas anyway, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we try to steer people into hey, look in your community first, right? This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get wealthy over time plan. Plans take a while, and you shouldn't rush any of the steps, right? Buy something, let it stabilize, get familiar with being a landlord, right? It's not for everybody, right?
You need to have a home renovation background me, and I know it probably helps, but the other thing is
property management.
Property management is probably a part of it, but not probably the best, in terms of real estate financing or even finding the properties. I don't have time to find the properties.
That's where you engage with a trusted real estate agent. So all these pieces are there, hidden in plain sight. You just
in your
need to pick
system?
them. Yeah. They're all
so
there.
I could just come to you turnkey and not have to worry about finding my own realtor or getting my finance guy.
We would recommend that you don't. So all the information in our proprietary system takes a lot of time to understand. And so our agents have a leg up on virtually any other real estate agent out there because we've walked them through what specific criteria they should be looking for you. That's where they have the edge. Not to mention, they have negotiated these deals before. They know how to work with the seller because, unfortunately, in our industry, FHA has a negative stigma, associated with it. And that's the tool we're using. And we have to convince a seller, right, and a seller's listing agent, we really know our stuff. And it only works if you have a combined team that is saying the same thing. And we basically, have, our presentation to the listing agent, to the seller, like, this is why you can trust us. We've done a bunch of these. We can get testimonials from all the top real estate agents. How many testimonials do you want to make you feel comfortable, right? 5, 10, 15, 20, we got them, right? Give us a chance at getting this deal done. We don't take on deals that we know absolutely 100% we're going to get done.
And I like that, because a lot of people get overwhelmed with this process. Even just buying, like, my family home it's just overwhelming. You got a lot of numbers to look at. You got a lot of variables in the home itself that you have to go through, inspections and all that kind of stuff.
A lot of documents, a
lot
of paper.
Documents, crazy amount of documents. So it's interesting. And I like the fact that it's, turnkey, so to speak, where you have your proven people, you have your system, and it kind of gives you a little bit of like a safety blanket of like, hey, I don't need to have expertise nor time to really deal with this. And it looks like I don't need to get a great credit score either, which is, a lot of people.
It's helpful if the better your credit score.
We've gone through some tough times lately. So it's like, a lot of people got strapped and got into bad situations. So this is interesting, because I always personally wanted to build wealth in real estate, for my family, for legacy. And I'm just starting to dabble now. And, I've purchased my own homes before. I've had rentals before, so, bought and sold, never used a system and never thought about it as a system. So, like, if I start here, I can build and build and build and utilize, the program you're talking about. What's in phase 3 in your 4-3-2-1?
Yeah. So, again, you buy a 4-unit property. That's what we call 4, right? And it's based on the gatekeepers of money, the underwriters, right? So an underwriter needs to believe that you're going to occupy the property as your primary residence. That's the key, right? That's what allows you to utilize the low down payment programs, whether it's just low down payment to purchase something that's already in great shape, or the low down payment called the 203K program, which is an acquisition renovation loan, where you can buy something and we give you all the money to fix it up, and you still only have to put 3.5% down. That's an amazing tool.
Yeah.
The most underutilized tool in real estate because of the negative stigma associated with it. It is the best tool out there that nobody uses.
So if I would try to do this on my own without using your 4-3-2-1 steps to financial freedom, I could try to get those loans. I could try to navigate the system. Yep. But what I'm hearing is you guys have a kind of established relationships and have the blueprint over and over again that's been successful. And does that matter? Does, like, you having those established relationships, having a proof of success in the system, I guess my question is, why wouldn't I just try this? I have great information. I'm just going to try this on my own.
Absolutely. Like, I always make the joke that I was the original lab rat. So I've tested these all out, and you break a lot of eggs to make an omelet. I've made more mistakes than anybody throughout this process and dealing with a bunch of other things, whether it's tenants, agents, attorneys. I've gone through it all. So you're leveraging my experience, where it's very, very unique in this space.
Right.
Most loan officers, most real estate people think you got to put 20% down, and I'm telling you, no. Here's a tool where I can show you to put 3.5% down on the 4 flat. Then you add value, you create equity, you create passive income, you refinance out of that FHA loan, and then you buy the 3 flat using the FHA loan again, 3.5% down, right? And then you rinse and repeat. Then you buy the 2 flat with 3.5% down, and then you buy the single family home the same way, right?
So the goal is getting to the 1, and the 1 at that point, you're having 3 streams of revenue, right? And you're
3 income producing assets.
3 income producing assets that allow you ultimately to have the single family home, dream home at 0 payments.
0 payments. That's it. That's the goal.
Just
that's the American dream, and it's very obtainable.
Well, the American dream is to get a home, but the American dream is crazier the way you're putting it, where I'm actually not paying
for the home.
My mortgage is not 0 right now. My mortgage is pretty hefty, and I didn't use your system. Yeah. So that's crazy.
I have a lot of people that I explain this to, and the common phrase is, "Why didn't I meet you 25 years ago?" Like, I got single family. If you have read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah. The American dream is obviously home ownership, right? But a home that is just another liability is better than renting, right? Because you're paying somebody else's mortgage if you're renting, right? A home, is not an income producing asset, right? So when people buy that single family home first, they shoot themselves in the foot because now you can't buy an income producing asset unless you put 25% down because it's looked at as an investment property. This is the hack of utilizing the tools that are out there, owner occupancy, 4 flat, creating basically your first part of your portfolio. Then you go down to the 3 flat, then the 2 flat, then the single family home, and the passive income from those three, those 9 units cover those 3 properties plus the single family home. But as they're covering them, they're paying down the debt. You're creating equity every month because your mortgage payment is made up of principal and interest. So the principal piece automatically gets transferred over to your net worth line because somebody else is paying down your mortgage. That's the beauty part of it.
That's great. I mean, just to have the idea that, you could create dreams, you can achieve dreams based on, like I said earlier, I always wanted and saw myself as like somebody who owned multiple properties, had revenue streams coming in, but always got stuck with time and always got stuck with the process, just because I got other businesses I'm running and I'm trying to do this. But I know ultimately generational wealth comes from real estate, mostly.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's a phrase, landlords get rich in their sleep. Yeah. Right. Because
it's just making money for you.
Because you're not there every second. You're not like the bakery owner, right? Got to be there to make money. Yeah. You don't got to be there to make money if you own real estate. Yeah. And if you're doing it right, you're having very little interaction with those tenants because you provided them a good, place to live. But they don't want to spend time talking to you. They want to get on with their lives. Yeah. And they're in the rat race, for lack of better words, and they got to go to their job so that they can make their rent payment. Yep. They got time for you.
Right. That's right. So in reality, how many lives have you impacted positively with this system? How many, I know you've been doing this for quite some time and you've had tremendous success. Has there been some real stories there that you could point out that have been life-changing?
Absolutely. I mean, we've hundreds of people. And a common phrase that I have after the first closing, from a client is like, when can I do it again? Oh my God, I didn't know I could get in there for that little money. We're like, okay, calm down, pump the brakes. Again, get wealthy over time plan, not get rich quick.
So when you say over time, what's over time? Give me years.
I would say, somebody getting into this beginning, probably this should be at the very, very least a 6-year plan. Okay. Because you got to buy, you got to stabilize, you got to get used to it before you can go to the next one, right? Unless you have an amazing skill set, like you would have an amazing skill set. It would probably be okay for you to condense that down to 5 years, no shorter than 4 years.
Maybe 3?
No, 3 years. Because you have to live in the property for at least 12 months. Yeah. Right? I mean, that's like lining things up incredibly well to do that over a 4-year period of time and take away from your day job. We don't want you to do that. We tell people, don't quit your day job because your day job is what helps you finance these properties. And at the end of the day, after you have these properties, then the most beautiful thing happens in finance, which is you get to take advantage of the tax code, right? You get write-offs, right? You have all this, all these opportunities, a whole other side of it, that we kind of talk about, from time to time. There's some people that say there's 2 types of people in the world, right? Those that plan to avoid taxes and those that avoid planning for taxes, right? You need to reverse engineer. How do I take advantage of all the legitimate deductions I possibly can? Because when you're owing multiple properties, right? You're paying property tax. I mean, you got enough taxes, right? You got enough property taxes. You're paying, when you're buying something, you're paying sales tax, city, county, state, whatever. You're afforded deductions because you're putting money into the economy, You totally are. Whether you're hiring a contractor to come, fix something, whether you're hiring a service tech to come, fix your furnace.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so not only do you get all the benefits of wealth building through the program, you're getting these additional kind of guidance, tax guidance and breaks. Say I didn't have the money, but like my uncle did, or I had an investor friend that could loan me the money. It seems like that's a reasonable option too, right?
There's this thing called a gift, right? So I want to do this. My mom, my family, are behind the dreams, and they want to give me some money to help me, achieve this. We were talking about, you want to, like, some of the stories of seeing people's lives transform within this. One of the things we see is like, when you buy your first income producing property, so many things become like part of it. Like you become somebody who's better at accounting, right? Now you start making, basically a budget, right? Because it helps you. So you start saving more money, right? Accounting, marketing, dealing with real estate, like all these other skills that you pick up. And then what we find is like people just start reading a whole bunch more. They want like more books. I want to learn more.
It makes them better.
It makes them better.
It's just like a more rounded entrepreneur, maybe gives them that entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
Gives them a little bit of, you're seeing a little bit of cash flow coming in. Yeah. You're seeing a little bit of that rise in personal gratitude and like success, what success does for people.
Yeah.
I love that. Ryan, we do have to go. I want to just, before we leave, where can people sign up for this program? Because I think people are going to go bananas, once they hear about this.
All over social media, Ryan Cotter, 4321hack.com. There's a bunch of information that you can sign up. One of our trusted individuals will reach back out to you. And if it's for you, we can get you started right away.
That's for me. So, thanks, buddy.